Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one who's been writing, the reaching out. I'm Anna. I'm from
Pleasure to meet
Boston,
you.
Massachusetts. So I live near, well, live near the Boston area. And so, yeah, I think, and I'm a rising junior. I think that's pretty much.
Hi, my name is Manasvika Mudam, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm also a rising junior.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you both. I appreciate you thinking of me and welcoming me on here. I'm looking forward to where this conversation can go. So thank you.
As our group, we've had a focus for like interviewing people who are into wellness and in health, specifically mental health. And so we heard about you through Clayton, who's our team lead. And I think he did a podcast with you. And we thought that was very interesting, especially during the pandemic and all of that. Feel free to talk as long as you want. And yeah, it's just supposed to be a nice chat. Could you just give us a quick introduction? Like, who are you? What is it you do?
For sure, for sure. So my name's Ben Fanelli. I grew up in Canada. So I went through the classic, for those listeners that may know of the hockey world, kind of the classic journey of growing up thinking you're going to play in the NHL one day, to play hockey professionally. I was on my way there, or so I thought. People in my life were telling me, I think you're going to have a chance to play professionally one day. And of course, at the young age of 15, 16, I believed them. And what ended up happening was in my sixth game with the Kitchener Rangers in the Ontario Hockey League, which is a step towards that professional league, I woke up in the hospital and I had no idea how I'd gotten there. So what really had happened was I was on the way to my goal. I was taking all the steps. I was actually moving to a point where I wasn't that far away from that goal that I had long term as a young kid. And then in the blink of an eye, I wake up in the hospital to news that I'd never play sports again, to news that my brain was bleeding in 3 different places and I may be a different person than I was the first 16 years of my life. And that's the news I woke up to. I was in the hospital for a week, Friday to Friday. And on the following Friday, I was very, very lucky to have an incredible neurosurgeon there the whole week that was watching over me, but I was able to avoid brain surgery. So they decided not to go in and do the surgery because they were seeing that the bleeds in my brain were starting to subside on their own. Doctors still haven't been able to explain why that happened. I went home, was pushing the envelope for sure within doctor's orders, but for me it was walking around the block. That's the most I was allowed to do. That turned into walking a little faster and going home, having a nap, going back out, walking around the block, then getting some brain games, mind games, puzzles going to help with that cognitive side of my brain, and then was slowly added more and more routines, more programs, more activities, again within doctor's orders, and got to a point where I'll never forget it. I'd already moved out of home, right? I had already moved away, playing hockey in a different town, and then of course after the injury was back at home. At this point, I started to get my energy back, and my mom said, "You know what, Ben, you're starting to drive me crazy again. Maybe it's time you moved back with your team." She knew what an incredible community it was, where I'm still here today, actually, in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario. It was just an incredible hockey community, support everywhere. So I moved back with the team, which is kind of crazy, going back to the area where I had my injury. But of course, I wasn't playing. I was just leveraging the positive benefits. Fast forward, I took 2 years away from playing the game. However, I was still with the team for those 2 years in a very different role. However, I could be involved, however I could chip in and provide for the team, make the team better, anything I could do from outside, which I'll save the story on that. But it was an incredible opportunity. I was welcomed back into the team and I had a role.
Would it be possible for you to expand on that? Because I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. True story is when I first got back to the team and I sit down with my head coach, and remember, this isn't a culture where you're very much a commodity, right? If you're healthy and you're performing, awesome. We're going to respect you and give you everything you need. But if you're hurt and if you can't perform, then we'll push you to the side and keep going this way. In that culture, that's not the experience I had. So I sat down with my head coach, all the coaches actually. My head coach said to me, "Ben, you signed your contract for 4 years, potentially 5. You're going to be a part of this team as long as you want, but you're going to have responsibilities and you're going to have to be accountable if you're going to be around the team." And little did I know the power in that, and the call to action from a very heroic point of view is there's this idea of a heroic duty, right? The heroic duty means duty at the root of the word is debt. So a debt owed for something, right? You have a debt for money, you have to pay it off to get out of that debt. And when you think of the word duty and a heroic duty in this sense, if I wanted the the actualized experience of being a part of a team, if I wanted to get back to that invigorating journey I was on toward becoming a professional hockey player, or you could phrase it as becoming the best version of myself, then there is a duty owed, right? There's a duty owed. And so when my head coach said to me, there's going to be responsibility and you're going to be accountable, that was the heroic duty. I'm going to have to chip in. I'm going to have to be a part of this if I want that feeling that I had, if I want to have that invigorating feeling and approach, even though I wasn't playing the game of hockey. That in itself, I didn't realize till a few years ago, as I've been diving into this philosophy and psychology part of life, and didn't realize that the power that had. It was a very simple idea, but that's what triggered me to get involved with the team, filling water bottles, being on the bus, going to community events, et cetera, everything that I could do within doctor's orders to be a part of that team, which I think in turn kept me happy. It kept me engaged, kept me motivated, inspired. I had connection, I had love, I had everything I needed to be. This is what I always say. This is why I'm so passionate about what I do today is I already grew up in an incredible upbringing. I went through my challenge and then I was put in a setting to succeed. I was put in a situation to be resilient. So when people talk to me today and say, "Oh, Ben, you're so courageous or resilient," or whatever the verbiage may be, I think to myself, I wouldn't have been one iota of that if it wasn't for my agent, my family, my coaches, my 23 plus teammates, the community. I couldn't go walking around the community. I played 6 games. I wasn't an all-star. No one really knew who I was. Even walking around this community, people would stop me to give me positive affirmations. It's like, of course I'm going to succeed here some way. Even if I don't play hockey again, I'm going to be better off and do something great because people are putting me in a position to be great. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I am doing today, because there's a difference between whipping yourself into submission to do the right thing. Wake up, it's like, I have to go work out. I have to eat healthy. It's like, sort of, but that's a very stressful way to live versus the call to action that my coach gave me on top of the incredible optimism and positive affirmations that I was getting everywhere I looked. And I just think, imagine we gave people that. Imagine we pushed a little bit to challenge them. We gave them a little bit of truth, right? People don't like the truth because it hurts. So then if we know the truth hurts, if we know there's a heroic duty, if we know there's hard work that has to go into a powerful life, why don't we buttress that powerful life with love and optimism and encouragement and connection and appreciating the journey and appreciating the opportunity that is the journey as opposed to the end state? Because we also know once you get to that end goal, it's that hit of serotonin, it feels great, but it fizzles out. It's being on the journey to something where we maintain those hits of dopamine. We're pursuing beings. We like to pursue things. Imagine you lived a life where your approach was to be on a journey to be the greatest person you can for the people around you. And from a behavioral side, social side, biological side, we know that's going to fulfill our human needs. Why not live that way, right? And it really does simplify things. It takes out these social ideals of success, status, money, attention, et cetera, and makes life quite simple and much more powerful. That's the experience I was blessed with. If I wasn't put back in that environment, that perfect balance of truth, the harsh realities that I may never play again, and it's going to be difficult and it's going to be hard, balanced with a ton of love and support and connection and love, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be talking to you. That's for damn sure. So that's, I guess that's the conversation. Yeah.